Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone 16 and compare it against the iPhone 16 Plus and see which particular phone is the better one for you. Now, the big thing I can definitely tell you is that when it comes down to these particular devices, I am definitely a big fan of both these phones. They're both very, very similar. In fact, the only difference you could kind of think about is the size. But with the bigger size, you are getting a bigger price tag, but also a bigger battery. But with the iPhone 16, it is cheaper, but you're also going to be able to save a little bit of money when it comes down to it. So there's going to be a lot of flip-flopping that goes on here, but we're going to go ahead and kind of see which one could end up being the better one for you. I own both of them. I enjoy both of them. But again, when it comes down to both, you're going to have to make a decision. So hopefully I can kind of help you in that situation. Now, first things first, if you do want to go ahead and pick up either one of these types of devices, links will be down in the description below. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of these particular devices. The iPhone 16 and the iPhone 16 Plus came out basically the exact same time. So there's not really any big difference here for the most part from that side, because they're both pretty much the same type of device when it comes down to it from that particular perspective. So they came out the exact same time. The way the pricing structure works for these types of devices is that, they're basically $100 in difference in terms of price tag. So the iPhone 16 basically costs $799. The iPhone 16 Plus costs $899. So that's kind of how the structure of these prices have always worked. And that's probably how they're going to work forever, unless the 16 Plus is the last iPhone. 16 Plus in that general perspective. The 16 is giving you a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. And I do feel like that type of device panel is good. It's 60 Hertz, so it's not anything super crazy, but it is a good looking device for the most part. And as I mentioned before, if you're going to go through and pick up a device, I feel like it is giving you an overall good type of experience, albeit it's not necessarily the most perfect thing in the world, but it is still giving you a good type of layout. With the iPhone 16 Plus, this one is giving you a 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. So that panel is going to be better. It's going to be overall bigger, but it isn't necessarily going to be a better panel. Even for me saying it's a better panel, I don't even think it is a better panel. I think it's a good panel, and I think it's going to be the same exact thing pretty much as the iPhone 16 Plus. Or as the iPhone 16, it's just going to be a bigger size panel. So you really kind of have to ask yourself that question, do you want to spend more money on a bigger size panel? Or would you rather save some money for a smaller phone? It really kind of comes down to that. So, I'll let you kind of make up that decision, but that's going to be one of the main things to kind of keep in mind there from that particular perspective. So from that side, I think that kind of covers it up on the front side. Both these phones are built out almost the exact same way. So they are pretty much the exact same type of phone. There's not really a big difference when it comes down to that side. You're getting a frosted glass back, USB Type-C port on the bottom, pretty much the same thing all across the board. So if you're going to go through and pick up a phone, you're going to be basically getting the same exact type of experience when it comes down to that side. So that is kind of a big thing to keep in mind there. If you are wanting the device that is going to be giving you the overall better experience, it's going to be a tie. It's not really going to be a phone, you're not necessarily going to pick up a phone here and think it's automatically going to be the better one, because they're roughly going to be giving you kind of the same type of experience from that particular perspective. So at least from the outside, what I can definitely tell you, both these phones are very, very similar. If you're planning on buying a phone and getting a device, you're basically going to be getting the same type of experience between both these types of phones. So that right there is going to be a really big thing to keep in mind here, because if you are wanting to go through and pick up a device that is going to be giving you the better experience, it's going to be a tie, but the iPhone 16 Plus might be giving you an overall bigger type of phone, which some of you may prefer. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there as well. Now, I think another big thing to keep in mind here too are the cameras. Now, these cameras, as you probably could have guessed it, are basically the same type of experience as well. So they're both 48 megapixel wide angle cameras, 12 megapixel ultra wide cameras as well. You're getting 4K at 60 on the front and the back, which is always really nice to have. And they are roughly the same exact thing. So you're not really going to be getting a big difference here either. It's going to be the exact same thing across the board. So if you are going to go through and pick up a phone, the camera here, they're almost identical. So I would hate to go and recommend a phone to you if you're going to be like, oh, this camera's way better. You're going to notice bigger differences when it comes down to a pro camera. So if we're comparing the 16 Pro versus, a different type of camera, like the 16 or 16 Plus, then you would start noticing some bigger differences there. Otherwise, they're going to be roughly around the same thing. So once again, I think that is kind of one of those big things to keep in mind there from that particular side as well. Is it the biggest deal in the world? Probably not, but it is just going to be one of those other small things, to kind of keep in mind there from that side. So in that particular perspective, I feel like that kind of covers it up there as well. Now, on top of that, I think another big thing to keep in mind here too is that within these types of devices, you have to remember that if you're going to go through and get, an iPhone 16 or 16 Plus, the good thing and the similarity here is that you're going to be getting a phone that is going to be basically supported with software the exact same amount of time. So both these devices are basically going to be giving you the same amount of software longevity and the same amount of software experience. So I feel like that right there is also a really big thing to keep in mind there as well, because both these devices are going to be giving you very similar types of experiences there, and they're not really going to feel like you're, getting an outdated type of device in a lot of different ways. Like, yes, it is going to be a little different, but you're still going to be getting like a pretty good type of device when it comes down to, that particular perspective. So once again, I think in that particular situation, that is also another one of those really nice things to keep in mind there, that you're able to kind of go through and pick up a device and have it still supported with software for many years now. One of the biggest advantages for the iPhone 16 Plus though, is that it is, giving you a much bigger size battery. That battery in that phone is 4,674 milliamp hours. That is a pretty big size battery to have inside of a device. So I would imagine that if you're going to go through and pick up a device, that right there is going to be a pretty big thing to keep in mind there as well. Now, would that be the reason why I would go through and pick up that type of device? I'm not 100% too sure, but that still is a really big thing to keep in mind there, because you're going to be able to go through and get a really big battery inside of that phone. When it comes down to the performance, this is also basically the same type of thing. Like, you're going to be able to go through and get the same type of experience when it kind of comes down to it, because they're both giving you the Apple A18 chip, and they're both giving you, 8 gigs of RAM, and they're also both still giving you very fast types of experiences from that side. So I will tell you, in that particular situation, if I'm going to go through and pick up a phone, you're still going to be able to get a very fast phone from both of these. These phones are very fast, they're both very performance heavy, and I feel like if you're going to go through and pick up a device, you're definitely going to be able to go through and get a very fast performing device when it comes down to it from that side. So when it kind of comes down to it, the thing I'll definitely tell you is that if you're going to go through and pick up a device, you're definitely going to be able to go through and get a very fast performing device when it comes down to both these devices. Like, yes, are they perfect devices? Probably not, but they're both very, very good. And I feel like these devices at the end of the day are going to be able to give you a very fast phone. But if it's up to me, I probably would recommend you to go through and buy something like a iPhone 15 Pro. I feel like the 15 Pro is probably going to be giving you an overall better type of experience when it comes down to that side, in my personal opinion. So I feel like that right there is going to be another one of those things to keep in mind there as well. But, if you're going to go through and pick up a phone, it's not the biggest deal in the world, but I feel like an iPhone 15 Pro is probably the one I'd recommend getting in this particular situation. So from that particular side, that kind of covers it up there too. So if you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.